Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. So this video is hopefully the redemption video for the last one, when I went in high 4 and I couldn't find that queen to get her marked. But so also we're going to go in high 5, and it's a 3 deep hive right now, because that's that screen combine we did with the laying workers. So now we're going to go ahead and reduce it down to 2 deeps. So can't mess that up, right? So we're going to go through there, pull out our empty frames if we find any, or start culling the frames, and we'll cull out 10 that don't have much in them, and try and decide if we're going to put the queen down on the bottom or the top. We'll just go through there, and I'd like to have all the brood in the bottom and let them fill out nectar and honey in the top. So I think our nectar flow was about over. We got a reprieve from the heat today. We had a northerly come through last night, and it's 70 degrees right now. But it is cloudy, and not a lot of bee activity, so most of them are going to be in the hive. So hopefully that's not too big of a problem for us. I don't think high 5 is that strong, but high 4, although it's a single deep, it might give me a little bit of problems. But anyway, let's get in there and see if we can find that queen, get her marked, and get number 5 reduced. Let's get going. Okay, here's high 5. It's been 3 days since we pulled out that screen divider that was letting the bees touch and acclimate, but they couldn't mix. You can see a few bees hanging out up here at this entrance, so I got this closed down, and so the bees up here would pass down through to get in and out. So let's get in here and let's get it reduced and get it back down to 2 deeps. Okay, I'm going to try and find the queen in here, so I don't want to smoke this hive a lot, so I'm not going to smoke the entrance. Just going to go in the top here and see if we can get her isolated. That way we can move her where we want. Make sure she's not on the lid. Let's see. I'm going to start over here on the right hand side. So most of the frames over here are empty, so that's 4 right off the bat we know we can get rid of. So this might not be so difficult after all. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these out, getting them out of my way. So this frame here has nectar or sugar water in it. So we'll keep that. And this one here, it's got some brood on it. Capped brood, quite a bit. And there's our queen. And we've got her marked white. She's going to go through that corner hole, watch. No, she didn't. Okay. So we know where she's at. I'm going to go ahead and pull this box off now and set it aside. So we need to get 4 frames out of here. And I don't think that'll be a problem. These don't look like they got a whole lot of bees on them. But I want to take a quick peek at these frames up in here, because this is where we had all of those drones. I want to see what that comb looks like, and how they've emerged out of there. See if we got a huge drone population in here. I don't think we will have, but let's check it out. Usually your drones are going to hang out on these outside frames. So here's an empty one we can get rid of. This has some capped honey little bits, so we want to try and save that. And there's a few capped drones left on here. And they're not, looks like they're not fully developed. It's hard to tell. Drone takes 24 days, I think, to emerge from an egg. Yeah, so we got a bunch of drones here. I'm just going to shake these out on the ground out here. So these bees will backfill this. A lot of people said don't leave drone comb in there, but this really isn't drone comb. This is worker comb that had drones laid in it. So it's going to be a little oddball shaped at the top, but they'll backfill that with honey, no problem. And I believe the queen will come back and lay in that if she wants to. See how many of those come back. Yeah, most of these are drones here as well. But there's a lot of nectar in here that they put into this frame as well. So we'll do the same. We'll just start shaking these out. A bunch of drones here. And we got us a super seeder cell right here that's got a larva in it. So since we got us a good queen, I'm going to kill that. I don't know if that's a viable or not. It's if that queen came down here and laid that, or they put an egg in there, I don't know. But we took care of it. Just a few drones left coming out. Here's a couple right here emerging. See, they're sticking their heads out. Bunch of drones. We'll shake it out. So this is drone comb right here. See how that's a lot bigger cells? So when you talk about drone comb, that's what that is. It's intended to have drones in it. This out here is worker cells. See the difference? So it appears the drones are staying here on the ground where I'm shaking them off. So we don't need that many drones in our hive. They're not really hurting anything, but they take up resources. We need them to leave, go hang out at the bachelor pad where they go hang out and look for queens and smoke cigars and stuff. Yeah, that's almost all exclusively drones. So apparently they're just now emerging, and they're just hanging out because they're really young. Same thing on this side, so I want to shake them out. So the bees coming back are worker bees. I don't see drones flying. So that's working. Same thing. Not as many on here. There's a few right there. I'm gonna leave them alone. And there's a little nectar in here, so we'll leave it alone. No drones out there. Okay. So all the frames there I'd like to keep. Let's get this off, and then we'll see what the bottom looks like, see how many frames we can cull out of there. I'm betting we can get quite a few out of here. Not a lot of bees down here in the bottom. There's undrawn frame, so we'll pull it. So probably what we'll do is we'll put our 4 frames from our nuke down here. There's a bunch of drones right there. Boy, I can really smell the honey curing. There's a few drone cells left, but there's a lot of pollen in there. So this will be good to put next to the queen because of the pollen, where she can lay. Let's see. Boy, they had that all bridged together. This is all workers, so we'll shake them out. Okay, here's a pollen frame. And I want to start putting our queen back right here. Lots of propolis in here. It's hard to move these frames. Clean it up a little bit. Okay, our queen's over here. So I'm going to put these 4 frames in right here so our queen will be in the bottom. This is the frame she was on. I don't see her now. This is a nice brood frame. Lots of capped and larvae close to being capped. Man, I don't see her. She must have went on over. I definitely want to see her going in here. And here she is right here. So we got a visual on our queen. Get us a 10th frame in there. Okay, we need to find one more frame to pull out of here so I can get my feeder in here. This one has the least amount of weight. It's got this drone comb, so I'm going to pick this one. I want to show you something here, and I learned this a few years back. So when you're putting frames together and mismatching them where they weren't before, you can actually get comb that's touching. You see right there? So the bees can't work that because it's too close. So you need to pull one of those out and put that to the outside, and so they can get in there. And you can also, when you're working with a hive that's got a heavy population and you put those together, you can trap and smash it and kill a bunch of bees like that. So we need to separate these 2 frames, get them opposite each other. You can flip them around. Yeah, so now there's a good bee space there. They can get in there and work those. And it's good on the opposite side too. So I am feeding these bees here just to help them catch up. And we'll continue to feed them for quite a while until they get built up. So that new queen in there, she's laying decent, but she needs to really kick it in now. Let's see, so we're going to switch back. We're going to take this top cover off, or this inner cover, because there's no notch. We want them to have a notch. And that's why I purposefully left this one here, because I knew I would need it later. Okay, so that's the final step for this correcting this laying worker hive. Shook all them drones out. They're all over there in a bunch hanging out together, so hopefully they don't make it back in here and just rob this hive of resources, nectar and stuff like that. So it could probably be reduced to 1 deep, but that would be pushing it, and I'd also would lose all the honey and nectar, sugar water nectar that they've got saved up in here. So the object of this is we're trying to get this hive corrected and situated such that it'll make it through winter. So it's we're about 2/3 of the way through June, when today's like the 27th, 28th. Actually, we're most of the way through June. But so we've got a couple months left before we start getting into the fall time. And this hive needs to be heavy by that time so it can make it through winter. Also, we'll have the fall flow with the goldenrod, and they should bring some of that in here as well. So that's it for this. Let's get over to number 4 and see if we can find that queen this time and get her marked. Yeah, so last time we came here, went through here and I couldn't find the queen. It was starting to get dark on me, so but man, I usually can find one in a single deep, so that was weird. I hope we're not queenless. And I did see a it looked like a swarm cell on the bottom of one of the frames, and I left it there because I didn't see the queen. So maybe the bees know something I don't know here. And we're feeding them with the frame feeder. So I'm going to start over here on the right hand side and get this outer frame out of there. So I don't want to start over there next to that feeder. Yeah, these bees are a little skittish. I think I remember a couple nights ago they were that way as well. They're real sensitive to movement. So here we got us a complete nectar frame, which is sugar water nectar. So she's laying good. Got us a capped brood there. Honey at the top. Gosh, she's in here. There's a real young larva around the edges. Hi, Eureka, I found her. She's a darker queen, and she looks a lot like a worker. It's hard to spot her. I call those kind of tiger queens when they have the striped bottom like that. So this is how I like to do this. I like to get me a little block of wood to lay my frame on so I don't smash any bees. We'll find our queen here and make sure she's on the top here. Yeah, she is. She's right there. Looks like she's looking for a place to lay an egg. So we'll get our catcher and just set it right on top of her and try to get as many of the workers out as you can. And you just capture her in there. So there she's caught. So it looks like I got 3 or 4 workers in there. But I'll try and coax her up on the outer walls and slide that underneath her, because I don't want to break any of her legs. So she's down on the bottom now. Sometimes they'll walk out on top of it. There, so she's on top of it now. Now she's on the wall there. There we go. So you can see how we got her in there. So the next thing you need to do is prepare your pen. Shake it up good. Get it. You need to prime the tip. You want the tip wet. You want that all ready before you go for that queen. So I just, on a piece of wood or whatever, I like to push it, get a little bit of ink going, get me a little blob right there, and make sure my tip is good and wet. But you don't want it a big drop on the end, you just want it wet. If there's a big drop, you're going to smear it and get it everywhere. So our pen is ready. Now we need to get our queen up to the top. So I like to do this with my left hand so I can mark with my right. So you just kind of wait till she gets lined up. You don't want to push hard. And there, she's lined up right in that groove. Ah. So there, I got her marked. I got some on her wing though. So we'll let it dry. So what happened there is I didn't have her. She's fairly small, so I had a hard time getting her to hold still, and I didn't want to push too hard, so she moved under my pen, and I got some ink up on her wing, which is a bad deal, but we'll see how she does. I've done that before, and it doesn't bother them. But she's trying to get out there. But we'll let that dry and release her back into the hive. So we'll put her frame back down in here. So why do you mark a queen in the first place? A lot of people think it's so you can see the queen and spot her easy. That does help a little bit. Most of the time when you're looking for a queen, you need to be looking for the queen and not the colored dot, because sometimes that colored dot isn't going to be where you expected it. They may have superseded that queen and she's not marked anymore, and you've got a new queen in there. And if you're just looking for a dot, you'll overlook a queen pretty easy. So always have the mindset of looking for a queen that's not marked, and you'll find them faster that way. So the colors are to know what year your queen was born, how old she is, and that's how I keep track of my queens. I track them by color. So this year's color is ends in a 1, is white. So that's why we marked her white. So she should be dried now. Let's get her in here. Okay, let's get her released. She's away from the trap door, so we'll get it open. There she goes. So these bees are taking a lot of nectar from their frame feeder. I filled it about 3/4 full a couple nights ago, and it's got about 1/4 left. So yeah, this hive's doing good. Got the queen marked. So now we just need to get them built up. Going to continue to feed these weak hives and get them built up, so get them ready for the fall, and so they can get through winter. So that's the end of the video. It was a lot better than the last time we tried these 2 hives. It's sometimes that's the way it goes in beekeeping. You never know what's going to happen. So always have a plan. Anyway, give me a thumbs up if you would, and subscribe to the channel on your way out. We'll catch you on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.